Hello and welcome to the very first I'm Saatchi, the poetry guy, and I am the captain of the M.A.D. ship at this moment in time. By no means the master of the waves, but certainly the captain of the ship. That stands for Mid-Monthly Multimedia Podcast, and the aim of is to let you know what's happening in our world at M.A.D. up in Queensbury, and also take a look at the creative and well-being news stories beyond our goings-on. Now, one last thing to mention before we get into the meat of this podcast is to really highlight the fact that at M.A.D. we want to be and are a multi-sensory experience. So that's sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. Now, we've managed to get sight, the visuals, and the sound down so far, but we want to bring a bit of the other three to this as well. So for this particular well, I'm not sure that one went well. For this they won't all smell, touch, and taste the same, but this one, it smells like hot apple pie, and it tastes like delicious cherries, really like juicy cherries, and it feels like the top of a well polished cabinet where you can still feel the grains of wood as you slide your hand across it. And that's it. Yeah, smells like cherries, tastes like hot apple pie, and feels like a well polished cabinet table. So if you don't know who we are, really, up in Queensbury Black Dyke Mills, M.A.D. it stands for Mezzanine Arts Depot, and we are essentially a arts and events sanctuary, where we're there for the creative community of Bradford, the Calderdale Valley, Queensbury, of course, and anybody else who passes through. You know, we're not regionalist at M.A.D. So that's who we are. And our headlines in the last few months include Hot to Trot, Bradford Producing Hub transforming space grant success, Bringing the Beat Back, 27th of November, first M.A.D. live event date decided upon. It's official, arts and craft residencies begin. So that's our three big news stories of the week. And in our Bradford and Beyond section, we're going to be bringing you news of the Bradford City of Culture 2025 long listing, Kirsty Bradford's front room poetry as the car park finale, and we're also going to take a moment to think about the re-emergence of the Taliban as Afghanistan's governing power and the effect that is having on the country's creative population. So, without further ado, let's bring the news to you. Hot to Trot. Our top story, and in many ways game-changing news this month, is that our Transforming Space grant application has been accepted by Bradford Producing Hub. Thank you so much for your support so far. This means we have funds on the way to spend on making our space up in Black Dyke Mills more comfortable, safe and secure for employees, creatives, artists, performers, customers, anybody who walks through the front door. They're going to get a bit of heat, they're going to get something served out the kitchen, and they're going to have a good time, hopefully, which is what it's all about. They'll be able to relax. So this grant will pay for several industrial fan heaters that's going to heat our archway room and gold room. Much needed work on the kitchen, including the installation of 2 new ovens, fire safety equipment, extra security measures, all I've mentioned there, yada yada. Basically, it means we're good to go. Yeah, which is great, because it gets really cold in Queensbury if you haven't been, and that's just July. So my fingers and toes are very grateful, and I'm sure many others will be too. So this leads to our second bit of news in and that is Bringing the Beat Back on the 27th of November. Yes, that is right. We will be having our very first exhibition opening and relaunch party on the last Saturday of November. If you don't already have plans for this date, you do now. But now do consider coming along, as we'd love to see as many creative types, mill lovers, and those that simply like new and interesting spaces to check out, to come on down, find out what we're all about and celebrate, this bit of old Bradfordian mill space being revitalised, basically. The exhibition is called Textiles, Mills and Derelict Thrills, which incorporates work from 3 local artists: Patrick Whitehead, who's a printmaker and etcher; Simon Sugden of Suggy Photography, he's a renowned derelict mill space, or derelict space in general photographer; and Jochen Gren, who is our first resident artist. We'll hear a little bit more about Jochen in our last bit of news. In the evening, the activity is not going to stay in the afternoon. This is an all-day thing, all night. Probably not all night, to be honest. I'm not going to be there at 6 in the morning or even 4 in the morning, albeit well. But we will be having a 60s disco, sort of late 60s, early 70s, with northern soul influence, ska, reggae. There's going to be food and drink available. And yes, people of all ages, humans of all ages, will be very welcome. This is a family thing. We want to keep it open to all, so all are welcome. And finally, our last headline within our world is it's official. We have our first resident artist and resident crafter to introduce. First up, Jochen Gren, that I've already mentioned. He was a silversmith for nearly 40 years. He lives down in Cottingley and now creates vibrant and mesmerising abstract designs through his unique painting and textiling techniques. Now that Jochen's got the space to do so, he is excited about getting to work on the biggest pieces he's ever attempted to date, and we can't wait to see what he produces. So yes, that's great to have him on board. And Elizabeth, who loves crafts, upcycling and gardening of all kinds, has also decided to take up residence at M.A.D. and has already made great progress potting and nurturing the first plants of our indoor garden sanctuary. So new shoots are truly sprouting up here at M.A.D. and we'll be announcing workshops from both of them in the next months. There we go. But as I said, it's not all about us. So let's take a look at news from Bradford and beyond. Culture, first up, we've got Cultures Coming Home. Started within the city limits, where the only limit is the sky, for Bradford and its City of Culture 2025 bid. After what has already been a monumental effort so far by the Bradford 2025 team, Bradford is now essentially in the quarter-finals of the City of Culture 2025 competition, with 8 regions now remaining, including, of course, Bradford. So, come on, Bradford, let's keep the momentum going in the right direction. Here at M.A.D, we want to see it happen. We want to be part of it. So, we'd love to get some activities going, especially now that we've got our heating in place. Yeah, so let's make it happen. Let's see how far we can get and bring that culture home. The second bit of Bradford and beyond news is still within Bradford, to be fair, and that is a supermarket stanzas. Another bit of Bradfordian news, certainly most worth mentioning, is Kirsty Bradford's front room poetry summer finale at the underground car park in Asda at the end of September. After what was a fabulously successful run of dates across the district, the late-night shoppers must have been wondering what their nan's sofas were doing arranged in the parking bays at Shipley Asda as they thought about what they were going to have to eat for their teas. Kitsch furniture or kitsch memorabilia sprayed out across Asda car park. And it was quite a sight, to be honest. what a great night and delight to have been there to witness Kirsty being introduced onto the stage in an Asda shopping trolley, finishing her classic Bradford poem with the line, "You can take us out of Bradford, you can take us out of Asda, but you can't take the Asdas out of us." That's poetic Bradford history right there and then. And finally, in Bradford and beyond, the last bit of news is not really news and more of a pause. And where we're going to pause is most definitely beyond Bradford. It's beyond Britain, and yet it is not beyond us. We finished this week's news with a few moments for the creative community in Kabul, Afghanistan. With the Taliban back in charge, creativity and freedom of expression has once again been discouraged and in many cases deliberately destroyed and demonized, like the Cultural Revolution in China, the ISIS insurgency across the Middle East, or the British destruction of sacred Hindu statues in India during colonial times. The Taliban wants to rid its reconquered people of their cultural heritage and identity. By next month, which will be on the 11th of November, 11/11. We'll have a bit more on this. We're going to have this as a running story, but for now, to say, I just want to pause, particularly for the women of the country, who, as we all know, are suffering the most in terms of their rights and freedom of expression and freedom to be creative. So let's take that pause now. So, last bit of is our Star of the Month award. And this is basically our opportunity to shine a bit of light on an individual that's come into M.A.D. Or is a part of the team already and has done something really special in the last few weeks. And this time around, it's going to go to an extremely talented artist who was born in Britain to Ugandan parents. He's called Valdengrave Art. He actually moved back to Uganda when he was 3 years old with his family, and then they all moved to Canada when Valdengrave was about 11. He's now a young man living back in the UK, has done for the last 2 years, and in his own words, is pushing his art as far as he can go with it. Now, I'm not going to bother trying to describe what he does. Instead, I've done a video compilation of the mural he painted last week for us over, it was 3 days, about 2.5 days. And there's also going to be a link to his Instagram, or there is a link to his Instagram and Saatchi Art pages. So do have a look at what he's doing. And that's about it. I'm going to say thank you to our star for being an absolute star. And a big thank you also to Volunteering Bradford, who basically made that link with Valdengrave possible, as Valdengrave responded to a call out we'd put on the Volunteering Bradford website for mural painters and graffiti artists. So yeah, it wouldn't have happened without them. So big thank you to Steve Blackman and the team there, doing their bit for the volunteering sector in Bradford, nationally and internationally, if you like, really. And that's your lot. That is all for this week. Thank you for listening. Please do get in touch if you're interested in what we're doing. Do share this if you think there's someone you know that would be interested in what we're doing, would find this an enjoyable few minutes of their life. And that's it. Don't forget to watch that mural painting video that we've put up there. And yeah, until the next time, that's me, Saatchi, reporting for M.A.D. Over and out. Hello, and